My St. Mary's, there's a Gale Express feature. So if you want to follow along and pull up your own items, I'm going to be showing screenshots, or we have screenshots of some of the material we'll be going over. But if you want to pull your material live, you can. And then, as Mike was saying, we may, or sorry, as Jordan said, we may stop along the way and ask questions, or Artie may just shout them out, or address them since he is assisting as well. So these are the systems we're going to go over. We're going to go over My St. Mary's, which has your email, your calendar, your Google Drive, and your Moodle. And then we're also going to go over the many features of Gale Express, and show you where they live. And then we're also going to include three others that we think are very important, which include LiveSafe, Handshake, and Health and Wellness.
Fantastic. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started with My St. Mary's. So My St. Mary's is really St. Mary's College of California Resource Hub. If you were to go to stmarys-ca.edu, on the top right-hand corner of that screen, you're going to see something that says My SMC. And if you click that, it's going to prompt you to log in. Hopefully many of you have your login credentials by now. If not, you certainly can follow up with us in the chat or ITS or admissions after today's presentation. I do have screenshots, as Amari mentioned, that we will cover together. And really, it's a single sign-on process. So once you're signed into My SMC, you're going to get a host of resources that you simply need to click to take advantage of. So here you'll notice things such as your Google Drive, email, Gale Calendar, quick links to like the library and Moodle, that sort of thing. One of the really cool features that I personally love that not many people take advantage of is this favorite tab. So if I was to click on all, there's probably like 50 quick link icons, but you can actually make a favorite tab. So whatever you utilize the most in, for me, it's like my email, my drive, you can just click update favorites and drag and drop, and then they'll be there forever every single time that you log in. So just a little tip for me. One of the really cool features that I love about My SMC is a directory search. So oftentimes you hear people's names that you should contact, or somebody will say to you, have you gotten in contact with your advisor, or have you touched base with your success coach, or you need to call student affairs or health and wellness. And you're like, I don't know where those numbers are. Well, SMC has made a directory search where you can search by faculty staff names, student names, if the student has chosen to put their name on the directory, and then lastly, department. So if I was to type in this little box, one of the departments on campus, say financial aid, the financial aid number and their email address, as well as their location, will pop right up. I think this is especially useful when you have professors and you may have misplaced or lost your syllabus. You can search by their last name and just copy and paste an email to them. So take advantage of this. It's the SMC directory search. One of the things that's really important to know about My St. Mary's is that email is the official communication of SMC, and you really, really should check it frequently. So I say for college students, try to check it at least 3 times a day and schedule that time out in your planner. So maybe in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, or do it twice in the morning, in the evening. All of the official communications go through there. So if it's like academic advising season and your advisor wants to schedule an appointment with you, they're not going to call you. Chances are they're going to email you. You might have lost your ID on campus in the library and they found it and they want you to pick it up. They're going to shoot you an email. While I don't always recommend it, you certainly can forward your email to a different account, but you don't want to misplace these emails and you want to check it frequently. So please keep that in mind as you move forward. You should also email professors and staff from this particular email account. And the reason for that is because if you were to email Amari or I and it's, oaklanda's@gmail.com, I may not know who that individual is, right? And if you don't provide me with an ID number, I may think it's spam. I'm just going to move that file right over onto the trash. So if you know, you need to communicate with someone, try to do it through email. I would also encourage you to add your ID number and what class you're in. So if you're communicating with a professor, you may want to put, I am in your math 13 class, and here's my ID number. And then lastly, a really cool feature is that you can set up your own email signature. So every single time that you're typing an email, you don't have to type Mike Hofshire, class of 2022, president of the Pride organization. Like that signature will show up every time you send an email, and you can do that in your email settings. There's lots of different features that you can choose to customize, but that would be the one that I would highlight. And then of course you can set up different folders on the left-hand side of the page within Gmail in terms of, you know, the different classes you have or the organizations that you may be involved in. So before we move over and away from email, I'm just going to pause to see if Amari has anything to add on email.
Yeah, I was just going to add to what you were saying about using your St. Mary's email. If you use your personal email, sometimes the email will go straight into spam. So, for example, if you email Reg off, it'll go into spam. So you just want to be careful with that as well, because if you email, it may be set up that if you email your instructor with your personal email, it'll go straight into spam because the St. Mary's won't recognize it if it's something like I love the Oakland A's. So you just want to be careful with that and really rely on your St. Mary's email to make sure, especially if it's time, if you like it's time sensitive and you need a response, I would recommend you always use your St. Mary's address.
Thanks. The next thing that we're going to cover is Gale Cal. If you don't already use some sort of paper planner or electronic calendar, now would be the time to start getting in the habit of doing it, either at the start of Jan term or at the start of the spring semester. I don't have to tell you that time management in college is so important. And one way to do that management is through Gale Calendar. You can put in individual appointments. So this is a snapshot from my calendar where, you know, I had an appointment, I'm able to put reoccurring meetings. They push and sync with my phone here. So if, you know, I am having lunch in the Commons and my phone goes off for a 15-minute reminder, I'm like, oh, I have to get back. I completely forgot about that. So it's a really great way to keep yourself organized, and it's free, provided by the college. So take advantage of that. You can color code different things. You can set it for different times. That's also built into my SMC. Here's a snapshot of what creating a new event would look like. So you'll see here, you can add a title, start and end date. You can do repeat, video conferencing, so it syncs with Zoom. On the right-hand side, you can add guests. So for this meeting today, I invited Amari to this event that we're having, and it had all the details in it. So it showed up on her calendar. It is great for group assignments and projects. And of course, you can mark yourself as busy or free and add a little note of like, hey, meeting to discuss navigating at technology at SMC type of events. Another really great resource is Google Drive. I would encourage you all, instead of saving your homework assignments, papers, you know, assignments that you get to your computer and take up valuable space, that you take advantage of Google Drive. So save all your work to one place. You're able to access it from any computer, anywhere, at any time. You don't want to be caught in a situation where your professor is like, hey, take out homework from 2 weeks ago. And you're like, oh, I didn't think I needed that anymore. So I just left it in my backpack in my room or at home. You'll be able to say like, you know what, I got that. So for me, when I was in college, I created different folders for each single class that I had, and it worked out great. I was able to color code it. I was able to share those with different people. So if I wanted to share notes or PowerPoint slides with my classmates, I could. And then another really great tool that we have is Moodle. It is our online course management software. It houses a lot of course syllabi, course readings and materials. Some professors will ask you to upload files to there or engage in discussion with your classmates. If class is canceled, they might send out an announcement. 99% of courses are going to have a Moodle page of some kind. You'll see here on the top of this page, you have home, student resources, which have quick links to, you know, for example, tutoring centers, faculty resources, and then my courses. So right now, if you were to log on, it might not show your spring classes, but the first day of spring term on February 8th, all your classes or most of your classes will show up here, and you can click on them, start to check out the syllabus, that sort of thing. For me as an instructor, I also input grades in Moodle. So students can kind of follow along throughout the semester so they can see what assignments they have remaining and how many grades they've earned to date. So before we turn it over, I'm just going to pause here. I'm going to allow Mari to chime in on anything that we talked about, and then I am going to take questions from the group. Amari, anything you want to add?
Yes, I was just going to add. So I'm a current student as well. I'm in the graduate program, so I use Moodle pretty much every day. And one thing I just wanted to say is it really ranges how faculty use it. I have a faculty member who really only posts like the syllabus and our assignments, and then we submit them there, and that's really the extent of it. And then I have another faculty member who we use it for discussions. She, like Mike, updates our grades frequently on the assignment, so I'm able to keep track of the grade that I have so far in the class. So it really depends. Some of them post the Zoom link on there, but some of them email you the Zoom link, and then you just have to like either bookmark it or create a calendar setting with the invite so you can easily access it. So it really depends how um it really depends on your instructor how much you'll be utilizing it, because some instructors are really heavy on Noodle, but not all of them are. So it's just something to be aware of.
All right, we can take questions from the group. Artie, has anything come through that maybe we should mention, or if somebody would like to type something in or come off mute before we go on to Gale Express? Awesome. All right, so it looks like we're good. Um, Great question that you just asked, Dahlia. If you have not been introduced to Moodle, is it difficult to navigate around? No, both from like an instructor and from a student standpoint, I find it really intuitive. If you have difficulty, you certainly could contact your success coach, whoever that may be, and Artie is happy to maybe point you to the direction of a success coach. They can spend maybe 10 or 15 minutes just kind of providing you with a general overview over the next couple of weeks to get you set up. Mari, you use Moodle as a student? Do you have any thoughts on that question?
I was just gonna add that it's available via my St. Mary, so it would be accessible on there. Let me just check. If Mike, if you want to stop sharing, I can share my screen and then show how to get there.
Great.
I pulled it up. Okay. So let me share my screen. Oh, I have a lot of them. 1 second. Okay. So here's my SMC, my home portal. Actually, you know what? The screenshot we included is of the old my SMC because it's been updated. So the screenshot I think had everything here. Now it's on the left hand side. So as Mike said, these are my favorites that I have on here. And then if you go to all apps, that's where you see all the options that you can add. So I just access Moodle right here. I go to Moodle and then it pulls up depending on the internet connection. Um, but hopefully it will load. And then so I can see my courses here, and then the student resources that are available here as well. Um, library, tutor me, resume tutorial. And then if you scroll down, it'll have your courses, and it saves it. So it has everything you've taken before. So I'm currently for Jan term in these two courses and my instructors, and then my old classes all the way down. And if I were to click, like this instructor uses it a lot. So she provided resources. We have readings on here, we have assignments that we turn in here, and then we have a forum online that we have as well. So it really just depends on the instructor. My other instructor doesn't use it as much, so it's not as busy as this one.
Great question, Dahlia. I'm going to turn it back over to Mari. We're going to continue with our presentation on Gale Express. And I am going to share my screen. Amari, if there's at any point you want to do your own screen sharing, let me know in regards to finding different things. Okay, here we go.
Cool. Okay, so now we're going to go over Gale Express, which has a lot of your academic information. And so we're going to go ahead and show you. So you can also access Gale Express via My St. Mary's. Sometimes when you click on it, well, always when you click on it, it's going to take you to this page. But sometimes when you click on current students, you'll only see one feature and it'll say register for classes. Just go ahead and click login again. And then once you do, you'll be able to see all of the features that it has to offer. So you should be able to see all of this. If you just see search for classes, click login again, and then it'll do its thing and load. Um, so the main things I think, well, I think in the coming slides I'll show you, but I just kind of wanted you to get an idea of what it looks like. This is not just for the registrar's office, but you will also see the student account center, which is for the business office. And you'll also see a note for financial aid on the left. And then if you have a job on campus, you'll be able to see your employee profile, which includes your time entry and your pay stubs and all of that information. And then on the right hand side, you'll see your additional resources, which includes other links to other websites. So one of the things on the page is searching for classes. So that was on the bottom left-hand side. And so how to register for classes. So we do have a video on that on the registrar's office webpage. I believe incoming students do not register for their own classes. And this was for fall incoming students. So for those of you coming in the spring, you may already have your schedule, you may not yet. But for example, in April, when you register for your fall classes, you would click on the search for classes button, and then you have to fill out at least two of these. So you would have to click your term. So at that point, it would be fall 21, and then your subject. So if you're searching for math, or if you're searching for English, and then you would click submit, and it will give you all of the results. When if you want to look right now, you could go ahead and look, but you probably will only see for the spring term. When we open the term for the fall, or really any time, we we will make an announcement to all students saying, oh, the classes are available for you to review, go ahead and start looking at them. And that's usually 2 weeks before registration. So we do make an announcement once we've loaded all the courses on there for the next term. The other useful feature is my academic evaluation, and that's on the top right. And what you can do is, for most of you right now, if you have not declared a major, you will see, I believe UG General right here, because that's the program we put you in. But once you declare a major, you'll be able to see your active program on here. So for example, if I wanted to see my counseling program, which is what I'm currently in, I would click on that one and then hit submit, and then it would show me all of my requirements. Now, if you're there right now, if you do that, and you, as Jordan put in the chat, if you already have access to it, to my St. Mary's, your eval will show you all of the core requirements needed for St. Mary's. So you could go ahead and view that already. But if you're thinking of majors, maybe, and you're thinking, maybe I want to try a psych major or an art history major, one of the cool things that you can do is in this area that says, what if I changed my program of study? You can do a drop down and then click on which program it would look like and hit submit. And it'll give you a what if scenario of what your eval would look like if you were to declare an art history major, and the courses that would be required, so that you can get an idea of the courses you need, how long it would take. The only thing you can't do is you can't try out double majors or minors. So that would be something you would have to contact our office about. But in the meantime, if you just kind of wanted to play around with majors and see what types of courses it requires, see if they're interesting, you can go ahead and try that as well. So the other thing on the right hand side of Gale Express is my class schedule. So when you go on my class schedule, it will give you a drop down of the term, as most of the Gale Express windows will give you, and then from there you will be able to see what you are registered for. So whatever you see on my class schedule is what you are formally registered for, and that is the official registration from the registrar's office. It is what will show up on your transcript. So if you notice that there's a course on there that you are not actually attending, you need to drop it and contact your office. Or if there's a course you are attending that's not on there, then you need to add it and you need to contact our office. So we do send more information about that, especially during the add drop period, which is the first week of classes. Now, one difference between my class schedule and Moodle is that on Moodle, I believe instructors have access to add students, but that does not mean you're officially enrolled. That just means they give you access to Moodle. And usually that access lasts about 12 hours because Moodle updates twice a day. It updates based on what you are registered for in another in Gale Express. So you may have access that night for your homework that your teacher gave you access, but then next morning you may no longer have access because you're not officially enrolled. So please make sure once your classes start that you check your class schedule because it is your official registration. Now, when we resume, if we resume having classes on campus, this is also where you would see the times that the class meets and the locations. So right now, this was my schedule from January. From the last fall. And so you can see the dates it meets and the times. And then if I were to click on the title of the course, which is hyperlinked in blue, it would show me where it was meeting if there was a room. Now, note that some courses meet 4 days a week, but on Gale Express, it will only list three. You have to detail into the course to see if it meets 4 times a week. And that's usually your science courses, that's usually your chemistry and your physics. So, just something to keep in mind. And then the last thing, the feature that I really like is if you are looking at your schedule already and are wanting to prepare and get your books, you can go to the bookstore link with I'm sorry, that's so little, I can't read it. It's a bookstore link to courses, and it'll link you to the bookstore, and then you will be able to see which courses are required for your class. Now, what I like to do, or what I like to do in the past, is I like to copy the title and then just search it online to see if there was either a PDF I could download or if there was a cheaper version I could buy than buying it at the bookstore. Um, Oftentimes now, what I'm finding in my courses is that not all those books are required. So sometimes our instructor will email us and say, oh, you actually only need to buy this book. Or for one of my classes this term, actually, the teacher sent us a PDF, so we didn't have to buy a book. So you may want to reach out to your instructor. You may want to wait until the first week of classes. It really depends. If you wait until the first week of classes, you risk having reading that week. But if you buy all the books, you also risk maybe not needing all the books. So it's just something to think about as you're planning. But now that we're back onto this homepage, I just wanted to show you, if you look at if you look at academic profile, that's where you will see your academic evaluation and your class schedule as well. And then you can also see your grades at the top, and then the unofficial transcript if you just wanted to kind of see the GPA you have, and that will only really matter once you have posted grades. It'll give you a cumulative GPA of what you currently have. So the additional resources at the bottom that I wanted to point out is the registrar's office forms. So if you click on that, it'll take you to our website, which has all of our forms available. And it includes a lot of forms, such as changing your name, changing your pronouns, changing your major or declaring your major, changing your address. It has a variety of forms. So you can always go there if we email you and we're like, oh, that's a transfer credit approval. If you go to that link, it will be in there. All of our forms for students are located in the same page, so they will all always be located there. So here's an example. The example I like to highlight is the FERPA form, which because you are entering college, your record is not protected. And so we actually don't release any information to anyone except for you. The business office has their own form, which is an authorized payer form. So if you authorize like your older sister to make payments on your behalf, if she calls the business office and says, oh, how much does Amari owe, they would tell her. But if she called the registrar's office and said, oh, I want to know Amari's grade so I can give her money or I can pay for her tuition or not, we would not release that information to my older sister. I would have to have a FERPA form to authorize it. So you just want to make sure if that is something you want to do, if you want to make your parents aware, or if your parent, if you are going to not have access to internet for whatever reason and you want to allow your parent to maybe call on your behalf and check in on your registration, you can also do that. The form does have a due date at the bottom, so if you just wanted to authorize them through maybe February 2021, you can do that as well. And then if they call back after, we would not enforce it anymore. So that's just something to keep in mind if you wanted to give people access to your record.
All right, at this time, we're going to pause before we go into our final three systems to see if anyone has any questions that come through the chat or you'd like to say them out loud. All right, well, we're going to keep going. There will be an opportunity at the end for you to continue to ask questions. So still sharing my screen. One of the things you noticed on Gale Express is our LiveSafe app. We think it's really important that you register, anybody that you want to get timely notification and alerts for. It is our phone app that allows public safety and students to communicate in real time. So think about things such as emergency notifications, hazards, things going on across campus that you want to be aware of. So the LiveSafe app will send a push notification to your phone, for example, if there is a bobcat sighting on campus or if a road is closed due to a power outage. Those are things that you may want to know about on your drive to campus, or even if you live on campus, you're going to want to know about that. There's also other features in the app where there's a safety map. You can report incidents that you see on campus. If you'd like to have a public safety escort you to your car because you're taking a graduate course and it gets done at 9 or 10 at night, you are already set to receive an alert via the primary phone number listed in Colleague should an emergency situation arrive on campus. However, I would encourage you to download the app. And if you were to just Google LiveSafe app or go to our public safety website, there'll be a lot more information there about what the app can do and how you can utilize that to the best of your advantage.
I'm going to add that you're most likely going to need to download the LiveSafe app because when you leave campus, you have to fill out your daily health screening to get back in. I'll show you what the app looks like. So it looks like this. I know you can't see it very well, but if I ever leave campus and I'm trying to get back in, I have to do the daily health screening, which just asks me questions and then I submit it. You could also, if you don't have a smartphone, do it on your computer and then it sends you an email. I've had students, when I verify theirs, show me a printed copy. Or if you can take a picture of it with your phone, if your phone has a camera, but you're most likely going to need it anytime you leave campus. You're going to need it to get back in if you're a student. So you will definitely need it when you move in, if you move in. Or if you signed up for residential courses or courses that do both on and off campus, you're going to need them as well. Okay, and then moving on. So we just wanted to briefly introduce the Health and Wellness Portal and Handshake. So the Health and Wellness Portal will have all the information regarding the Health and Wellness Center. So you can click on that for more information. And then Handshake, if you are interested in a job, is where you can find jobs on campus, off campus, internships, all kinds of opportunities. I believe that's also where Career Professional Development Services, CPDS, where they host most of their events. So if they have info sessions, if there's a recruiter coming to campus, or if there's, a virtual recruiter, or if there's a virtual info session on, I think they do them on like the FBI, if like they want to do an info session on what would the application process would be like. You can visit those as well through there. So you can go ahead and look and find those opportunities on Handshake.
That concludes today's presentation. We're now going to pause and take questions. If you have questions, that would be a great time to ask them as it relates to technology, because Amari and I can also do some screen sharing of our systems.
Hello, everyone. Hey, I just have a quick question. I work in admissions and have quite a few students that ask about this, but is there, if a student for whatever reason gets locked out of, their My SMC, and they went through the, try to figure out what the password is, steps, forgot your password steps, and, they're still locked out, who can they contact to, or who's the primary person they can contact to get this information resolved?
That would be IT services. So they're the ones who would be able to help the student get back into their account and reset their password.
Thanks.
Well, we hope you found this super helpful. Jordan, I'm going to turn it back over to you.
Great, thanks so much. So thank you everyone for attending. We will be sending you a follow-up email with this recording, just in case you want to go back and look at this again. And then I would just say, let's see, Mike, Amari, and Artie, could we have you all put in the chat the best way to get in touch with you in case anyone has some additional questions?